Hi everybody, this is Nancy with Top Qualifier Marketing, and welcome to our video. You know, back when we were in school, one of the things that you had to do when you were in school was take an IQ test. And if you scored high on the test, you were considered to be a genius. And if you didn't score high on the test, well, you know, they weren't sure what to do with you. You know, stick you in a technical school, hope to heck you come up with something you can do that'll allow you to make a living. But what I've found out as I've gotten older is that IQ really doesn't have anything to do with anything. If you want to be a success in any portion of your life, the one thing that you have to work on is not your intelligence quotient, but your self-image. I'm going to start by relating a couple of stories to you that Dr. Maltz tells in Psycho-Cybernetics. And it's a tale of two self-images. There was a young woman one time, and she finally got her dream husband. He finally proposed to her. They got married. They bought a beautiful home. They drove top-of-the-line cars. They didn't scrimp on anything, but they were constantly signing for credit. They were charging everything. And that was okay, because it could handle the payments and everything, because both of them had really good jobs. Then one morning she woke up and she came downstairs, and there was a Dear John letter for her on the counter. Her husband had taken off, and he had taken all of the money out of the bank. So she knew she was in trouble. And her self-image was starting to shrivel up because she didn't think that this guy would ever do that to her. Then, about a month later, her company decided to downsize, and she was terminated from her job. Now she was in real trouble. No savings, no money in the bank. He had absconded with all of that, and only 30 days severance pay. She didn't know what to do. She finally ended up having to file for bankruptcy. Excuse me just a moment. See, my self-image is going to suffer here in just a minute, too, because of two little dogs. But she finally ended up filing for bankruptcy, okay? And, hey, she took what few belongings that she got to keep, and she put them in the back of an old van and drove out into the wilderness to one of the national parks, and she lived there in the van, cooking outside. Well, they had been pretty well known in society, so after a while, a news crew went out and interviewed her because they just wanted to find out how it was that she had fallen so far. And she talked to the news crew and she said, you know, I feel pretty good about myself. My self-image is good, so I know I'm going to come back. I just have to find a way to do it. About 6 months later, the crew came back again. But she wasn't there this time. A couple of weeks earlier, she had committed suicide. Her self-image finally dwindled to a point that she could not get out of a feeling of failure. Now, let's talk about another self-image. Dr. Maltz tells a story about a man that walked into one of his speeches one time, and as he approached where he was going to sit, being it was a hot day, he started to take his suit jacket off. And Dr. Maltz said, you know, I watched him and he seemed to really be struggling at it. But once he got the suit jacket off, he said, I realized what the problem was. He had no hands. And he said, but the man had a presence. And I found that as I was giving my speech, I kept looking over at him. And afterwards, I approached him to talk to him. And he said what had happened was that a couple of years before, he had been in a bad railroad accident, and he had lost both of his hands in the accident. He said, you know, for a couple of weeks, I just thought, you know, this is the end. I'm going to take my life. I give up. There's nothing I can do. And he said, and then my self-image kicked in, and it went, and that's not you. You're not a quitter. And he said, I thought, what can I do? And he said, well, you know what? I can sell things. And so he learned the art of selling and went on, got a job with a company in town, and became one of their top salespeople. His self-image was living in success mode. You know, every morning when we get up, we have a choice when we look in the mirror. Are we going to live in failure mode, or are we going to live in success mode? If you want to live in failure mode, all you have to do is go back into your past and pull up all of the things that you've done wrong, all of the things that you've failed at, and you'll be in failure mode for the rest of the day. Or you can see yourself as 6 feet tall. Okay, there are real people that are 6 feet tall. It's hard to believe when you're only 5 feet. 8 feet tall. You can believe that you're 8 feet tall and that you're a successful person. And the way you build that self-image is to go back into your past again, but this time pull up all of the things that you've been successful at in your life, no matter how small they are. And you are going to set yourself up to be a success. And you're going to achieve all of the goals that you set for yourself that day. And those goals are going to lead you to bigger and better goals, and that's going to lead you to the life you want to live. If you'd like to know more about what we're doing to grow ourselves into the best human beings that we can be and be financially free, be sure you click the link below, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.